So one of the books I read this summer is called Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry by Mildred Taylor. It's a story of an African American girl who her and her family lived in Mississippi in the 1930s. And it tells the story of her life while she was a girl during this time period and the racial discrimination and bias that she and her family faced. I recommend this book because it tells a good story about American history, but also shows it's also a book that where you want to continue after every page and read it till the end. You don't really get bored of it. Another book I read this summer was On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. This book is about an African American teenager living in the 21st century in New York City. And it's about the challenges she faces with racial discrimination going even in the 21st century. She also expresses these challenges through poetry and rapping. I recommend this book because of the relatableness of the characters and the ways that you can feel like you are actually experiencing the moments in the book. Fair warning, this book does have some uses or a lot of uses of swear words and bad language. My mom did recommend this book to me. I am 12 years old. But as a parent, I would suggest reading pretty much just you need the first chapter to get a good sense of what to do. So I've been on a bit of a racial justice book reading kick lately. And one of the books I read during this, maybe I would call it a phase, but mainly inspired by my mom, is Stamped by Ibram X. Kendi and Jason Reynolds. It is a history book, or a not history book, about slavery in this country and racial justice in this country and bias and around the world. I'd recommend this book because of its, I actually really liked the history part of it, even though one of the main points of the book was that it was not a history book. I thought it was a history book. It felt like a history book when I was reading it. I also thought that reading this book with the other two books I mentioned, On the Come Up and Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry, was really good because Stamped really showed the history side of things, and then the other two, On the Come Up and Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry, showed like the stories and the ways that people lived through the result of what was being told and Stamped.